a black kitchen assistant, an arrogant businessman, and a creative dish. What began as a mocking amusement transformed into a moment of silence that captivated the entire elegant restaurant and humbled the most conceited egos. You won't believe how she turned humiliation into opportunity, flipped the situation with her skilled hands, and crafted a flavor that touched hearts. Golden Fork. The city's most luxurious restaurant radiated warm golden lights every evening. Crystal chandeliers hanging high above cast shimmering reflections on tables adorned with pristine white linens, red velvet chairs, and gleaming silverware. Every detail was meticulously arranged, a reminder to every guest that they were stepping into a place where elegance and perfection were paramount. Mia Alvarez, a 26-year-old woman with long black hair neatly tied back, moved swiftly between the tables. Her black and white uniform was simple yet immaculate. But beneath this modest exterior burned a heart filled with a passion for cooking. She didn't just want to serve Golden Fork's exquisite dishes, she dreamed of being in the kitchen, creating and pouring her soul into every plate. Mia had been working at Golden Fork for nearly a year. During that time, she quietly observed the chefs at work, soaking up every small technique as she carried out her tasks of prepping ingredients. Yet, despite her efforts, the dream of becoming a chef remained a luxury she couldn't afford. Without formal culinary credentials, she only had her passion, determination, and self-taught skills to rely on. Still, Mia clung to the hope that someday, an opportunity would arise. Saturday evenings were always the busiest at Golden Fork. The wealthy and powerful flocked to the restaurant to bask in its sophistication and indulge in dishes crafted by the renowned chef Jean-Luc Morel. For Mia, these evenings were also the most demanding, with relentless orders and the challenge of catering to the whims of discerning guests. The restaurant's doors swung open, and the entrance of the MAGA group immediately drew everyone's attention. Leading the group was Victor Sterling, a wealthy businessman with an air of arrogance, flanked by three other men. They wore red hats emblazoned with MAGA Make America Great Again, a controversial symbol associated with right-wing politics and unapologetic self-importance. Victor entered with a swaggering stride. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit paired with a deep red tie. Although the men accompanying him were also impeccably dressed, they seemed overshadowed by Victor's dominating presence. The group quickly became the center of attention, not just because of their conspicuous appearance but also due to their loud laughter and overbearing demeanor. The restaurant manager, Mr. Anderson, promptly approached and bowed politely. "Good evening, Mr. Sterling. Your table is ready. Please follow me." Victor nodded indifferently, his gaze sweeping over the restaurant, as if assessing whether it met his standards. As the MAGA group walked past, the atmosphere in the restaurant seemed to grow heavier. Many other patrons cast curious yet uneasy glances their way. Victor's table was set near a large window, where the lights from the main street sparkled against the glass. Mia, assigned to serve their table, took a deep breath as she approached. She had dealt with difficult customers before, but Victor's group carried a different kind of energy, one marked by disdain and a need for control. "Good evening, gentlemen," Mia said with a professional tone and a practiced smile. "May I get you something to drink?" Victor looked up, his cold eyes scanning Mia briefly before flicking to the name tag on her uniform. A smirk curled on his lips. "Mia, is it? Sounds more like the name of someone who belongs in the kitchen." Mia hesitated for a fraction of a second but quickly regained her composure. "Yes, sir. I'm here to serve you tonight." Victor chuckled derisively. "Serve, yes, but I'm curious, do people like you have ambitions? Or are you content doing this for the rest of your life?" His question dripped with condescension, but Mia refused to let it shake her. "I believe everyone has dreams, sir," she said, her voice calm and steady. "But tonight I'm here to make sure you have an excellent experience at Golden Fork." Victor raised an eyebrow, appearing intrigued by her response. "Very well. We'll see what you can deliver." Laughter erupted from the MAGA group, making Mia feel as though she were the subject of some private joke. Still, she maintained her poise. She swiftly noted their drink orders and left the table, silently reminding herself not to let these guests disrupt her professionalism. When Mia returned with their drinks, Victor resumed his taunts. "Tell me, Mia, I bet you can cook. Want to give something a try? I hear beef Wellington is no easy feat. Or have I overestimated you?" The table burst into loud laughter again, and Mia could feel the entire restaurant's eyes turning toward her. Though she felt the sting of insult, She kept her expression composed. "I'm not here to cook tonight, sir," she said, her gaze unwavering, "but I trust our head chef will not disappoint you." Victor tilted his head, his smug smile never wavering. "All right then, but if you change your mind, let me know. Maybe I'll give you a chance." Mia clenched her hands slightly, willing herself to remain calm. She knew this was only the beginning of a long evening, but deep down, she resolved that she wouldn't let the night end the way Victor wanted. As Mia moved briskly between the tables at Golden Fork, her mind wandered to memories of her childhood, where her passion for cooking first began to take root. Each time she glanced at the elegantly plated dishes on the tables, she was reminded of the humble afternoons spent in her mother's tiny kitchen in a small town. Mia was born and raised in Woodland Grove, a peaceful town nestled among sprawling meadows and dense forests. Her family's modest home may have been small, but it was always filled with love. Her mother, Elena Alvarez, was an exceptional cook in her own right, though financial struggles had kept her from ever working in a real restaurant. As a young girl, Mia would spend hours sitting at the kitchen table, watching her mother prepare meals. The aroma of freshly baked bread, the sizzle of oil as her mother fried empanadas, and the careful attention Elena gave to plating each dish were indelibly etched into Mia's memory. Her mother's meals weren't just food, they were stories, expressions of love and care. "I want to learn how to make this," Mama Mia would say, her eyes sparkling as she watched her mother knead dough. Elena would smile, her skilled hands never pausing. "One day, Mia, when you're ready, I'll teach you everything I know." But life had a way of disrupting even the most peaceful routines. When Mia was 14, her father passed away in a work accident. The financial burden fell squarely on Elena, forcing her to take extra shifts at a small diner to make ends meet. The serene afternoons in the kitchen became a thing of the past, but Mia's love for cooking never wavered. As she grew older, Mia couldn't afford to attend prestigious culinary schools. Instead, she taught herself through old cookbooks bought at thrift stores, online tutorials, and countless hours of experimenting in her family's small kitchen. Early failures, like the time she burned an entire batch of flan or oversalted a stew, didn't discourage her. Instead, they fueled her determination to improve. "Failure is the mother of success," she reminded herself, meticulously noting down her mistakes and how to fix them. At 20, Mia decided to move to the city in search of opportunity. With a meager savings from part-time jobs in her hometown, she rented a small room and began working in local diners. The work was grueling, but Mia threw herself into it, quietly observing and learning from the cooks around her. Her early days at Golden Fork marked a turning point in her journey. Initially hired as a kitchen assistant, her duties were limited to washing dishes and prepping ingredients. Yet, whenever she had the chance, Mia would watch executive chef Jean-Luc Morel run the kitchen. She learned from him the importance of timing, the artistry of selecting ingredients, and the subtlety required in presentation. Each night after the restaurant closed, Mia would sneak into the kitchen to test recipes she had created. Though the dishes were simple, they allowed her to nurture her passion and prove her growing skills to herself. Back in the dining room, Mia faced the harsh realities of her position. She was just a server, an insignificant part of the luxurious backdrop to powerful patrons like Victor Sterling. But Victor's scornful remarks tonight had reignited memories of being dismissed for her humble beginnings. "People like you, do you ever accomplish anything big?" a former manager had once said while denying her a promotion. Mia glanced at Victor's table, where he and his companions laughed boisterously. They ordered expensive dishes and fine wines, bragging about their successful business deals. To them, she was invisible, a mere accessory to their extravagant evening. But Mia no longer felt the sting of their disdain. Instead, a quiet resolve burned within her. "I can't change how they see me," she thought, "but I can change how I see myself." As she delivered dessert to Victor's table, she met his challenging gaze. "Do you really think you can become a chef?" Victor asked, his tone laced with mockery. "Let me be blunt, not everyone has the talent to make it in a kitchen like this." Mia paused for a moment, her eyes steady and unflinching. "I'm not here for advice from you, Mr. Sterling, but if you must know, I'm always ready to prove myself." Victor smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Is that so? Well, we'll see." That night, Mia realized her journey wasn't just about pursuing a dream, it was about proving she deserved that dream, no matter the prejudices and obstacles she faced. After serving the MAGA group, Mia quietly retreated to the prep area, seeking a brief reprieve from Victor's scrutinizing gaze and the mocking laughter of his companions. Though she maintained a professional demeanor in front of the guests, Victor's taunts had left her feeling wounded. But more than that, they reminded her of why she had chosen to work at Golden Fork, a decision that was not just about earning a living but about bringing herself closer to her dreams. Mia had grown up in San Ysidro, a small town nestled near the border with Mexico. Her family was not wealthy, but her mother, Isabella Alvarez, always tried to provide her with the best life possible. They lived in a modest home, where the simple kitchen served as the heart of their household. It was there that Isabella spent most of her time preparing delicious meals for the family, and where Mia's love for cooking first began to take shape. Mia would often sit at the kitchen table, watching her mother knead dough, season dishes, and prepare traditional Mexican recipes. Whenever Isabella made tamales or cooked mole, the aroma of the food would fill the house, bringing warmth and a sense of safety. Mia quickly learned how to make these dishes, not just with her hands but with her heart. Her mother often told her, "Cooking isn't just a skill, it's how you show love and care for those around you." When Mia was 12, her mother faced a major setback. She was laid off from her job at a local factory. To make ends meet, Isabella started selling homemade food from their kitchen, and Mia became her dedicated assistant. Together, they stayed up late making tamales, preparing tacos, and delivering meals to the people in their town. These experiences taught Mia the deeper meaning of cooking. It wasn't just about satisfying taste buds, but about connecting with people and bringing them joy. Life, however, wasn't always kind. By the time Mia turned 18, Isabella had fallen seriously ill, leaving Mia to shoulder the responsibilities of running the household. Her plans to attend culinary school in San Diego were quickly put aside. Instead, Mia took a job at a small diner, hoping to save enough money to one day pursue her dream. After her mother passed away when Mia was 22, she decided to leave San Ysidro in search of new opportunities. Moving to a big city, she secured a job at Golden Fork. Initially, she was hired as a kitchen cleaner, but through hard work and determination, she earned a promotion to prep cook. Still, the dream of becoming a head chef remained distant. She lacked formal training, connections, and the opportunities to showcase her talents. Mia spent her short breaks observing the chefs in the restaurant, memorizing the way they handled ingredients and arranged dishes with artistic precision. Late at night, after the restaurant had closed, she would experiment with new recipes in the auxiliary kitchen, hoping that someday she would get her chance to stand at the center of the kitchen where all eyes would be on her. That evening, as Mia emerged from the kitchen to serve Victor's table their main course, her mind replayed his mocking words. But instead of feeling defeated, she felt a surge of determination. She knew she couldn't change the opinions of people like Victor with words alone, but she could prove her worth through her talent and unwavering resolve. Seated at the head of the table, Victor saw Mia approach and couldn't resist another jab. "Young lady, I was just telling my friends that maybe you should quit serving tables and become a chef. Do you think you're up to the challenge?" Mia placed the dish in front of him, her gaze meeting his with quiet defiance. "Mr. Sterling," she said, her voice steady and composed, "becoming a chef takes a great deal of effort and passion. I believe that one day I'll prove that I'm capable." Victor laughed loudly. "I like your confidence. But remember, this world isn't kind to dreamers. You'll need to be a lot tougher if you want to survive." Mia gave a faint smile. "Thank you for the advice, sir. I'll keep that in mind." As Mia walked away, she could hear Victor and his friends laughing, but she refused to let it shake her. Deep within her, a decision began to take shape. She would wait for the opportunity to prove her worth, not to satisfy Victor or anyone else, but to fulfill the promise she had made to herself and to her late mother. The atmosphere at Golden Fork grew increasingly tense as the night progressed. Victor Sterling's table, occupied by members of the MAGA group, continued to draw attention from the entire restaurant. Their loud laughter and ostentatious tales of wealth and power drowned out the gentle background music playing in the dining room. Despite the noise, Mia focused on maintaining her professionalism and staying attentive to her duties. While clearing a nearby table, she couldn't help but overhear the sneering remarks coming from Victor's group. Each comment, though not directed at her, carried a tone of mockery and challenge. Mia reminded herself that this wasn't the time to react. Patience, she thought, would be her most powerful weapon. As the restaurant began to quiet down with fewer patrons remaining, Victor, swirling a glass of red wine in his hand, turned his attention to Mia and called her over. Though discomfort churned inside her, she approached with her usual composed demeanor. "You there, young lady," Victor began, his voice dripping with arrogance. "We've been discussing something interesting at our table. Someone here bet that you probably only know how to whip up basic home-cooked meals. But I argued that working in a place like this, you must have picked up at least a few tricks from the chefs. Am I right?" His companions erupted into laughter, their mockery filling the room. Mia could feel the weight of their stares pressing down on her. Tightening her grip on the tray in her hand, she took a deep breath to steady herself. "Mr. Sterling," she replied, her voice calm but resolute. "I work here to learn and improve my skills. I believe everyone needs time to grow, and I'm no exception." Victor smirked, the corners of his mouth curling upward. "So, would you dare to prove it? Where's the head chef? Call him out here. I'd like to see what you can do in the kitchen." His challenge hung heavily in the air, and the room seemed to freeze for a moment. Nearby diners began whispering among themselves, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding drama. Mia felt her throat tighten, her heart pounding in her chest. It was clear Victor was trying to humiliate her, to put on a show of his power. But deep down, she realized this might also be the opportunity she had been waiting for. "Mr. Sterling," Mia said, lifting her eyes to meet his gaze without wavering, "if you truly wish for me to prove my abilities, I'm willing to do so. However, I would need the head chef's permission." Victor raised an eyebrow, his expression suggesting he didn't believe she'd have the nerve to accept. He turned to the restaurant manager, who stood nearby with a tense look on his face. "Call your head chef," Victor demanded. "I want a performance tonight." Chef Daniel Moreau, a seasoned man with a stoic exterior but a reputation for fairness, stepped out of the kitchen with a stern expression. He had overheard much of the conversation and was visibly displeased with Victor's attempt to corner Mia and turn her into the evening's entertainment. "Mr. Sterling, I don't believe this is the time or place for such a demonstration," Daniel said firmly, his voice steady and authoritative. "Oh, but I thought your restaurant always prioritized its customers," Victor retorted, his smug smile unwavering. She agreed. Why not give her the chance? Daniel turned to Mia, his gaze both probing and encouraging. "Mia, are you certain about this? I don't want you to feel pressured." Mia nodded, her eyes glinting with determination. "Chef, I'm ready. This is my chance to prove myself." Daniel paused briefly, considering her resolve, then gave a small nod. "All right, you'll prepare something simple but refined. Let's see your skills with a seafood risotto." Mia stepped into the kitchen, a space where she had previously played only a supporting role. This time all eyes were on her, including those of her fellow chefs. Some looked doubtful, while others offered encouraging glances. Daniel stood nearby, observing and ready to assist if necessary, but he allowed Mia to take full control. Mia washed her hands and began preparing the ingredients with unwavering focus. She recalled every technique she had observed from the other chefs in the restaurant, as well as the lessons learned from her mother's kitchen. Each slice of onion, each minced clove of garlic, and every grain of rice toasted in the pan reflected her meticulous attention to detail and dedication. As the seafood stock simmered gently, a tantalizing aroma began to fill the kitchen. Mia stirred the risotto steadily, adjusting the heat carefully to achieve the perfect consistency. Nearing completion, she added shrimp, scallops, and a touch of fresh parsley to enhance the flavor. When Mia carried the plate of seafood risotto to Victor's table, the restaurant fell into a hushed silence. Diners watched her every step with curiosity. Victor eyed the dish before him with a mix of intrigue and skepticism. Well, then he said, picking up his fork and taking a bite. His companions, along with Mia, held their breath, waiting for his reaction. Victor chewed slowly, his expression unreadable at first. After a few moments, he placed his fork down, raised an eyebrow, and looked directly at Mia. "Surprising," he said, his tone less condescending than before. "Your risotto. It's not bad. Actually, it's quite good." Applause erupted around Victor's table, and even nearby diners joined in. A wave of relief and pride washed over Mia. This was more than just a small victory against Victor, it was a significant step toward realizing her dreams. As Mia returned to the kitchen, Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Well done, Mia. You've proven you have what it takes. I hope you continue to learn and refine your skills." Mia smiled, her heart swelling with joy and newfound motivation. She knew this was just the beginning. The road ahead would be long, but she was ready to walk it with greater confidence and determination than ever before. Even though Mia had proven herself, she couldn't escape the scrutinizing eyes of Victor and his group. The atmosphere at their table gradually returned to its lively tone after Victor praised her seafood risotto. However, the compliment seemed to serve merely as a prelude to the next stage of Victor's game. "Your risotto was quite good," Victor said, his sharp gaze fixed on Mia as she returned to clear the table. "But I wonder if you can do more than that. One dish isn't enough to demonstrate the true capability of a chef." The table burst into laughter, but this time the laughter carried a tone of challenge rather than mockery. Mia pressed her lips together, trying to remain composed. She had cleared the first hurdle, but it was evident that Victor wasn't ready to let her off the hook. Edward Marshall, the restaurant manager, stepped in, attempting to defuse the situation. "Mr. Sterling, we're delighted that you enjoyed the dish. However, tonight is quite busy, and Mia needs to return to her duties in the kitchen." Victor smirked, clearly unimpressed. "Oh, I don't mean to disrupt anything, but if she claims to be a culinary enthusiast, I think she should be prepared to accept the next challenge." Mia turned to Mr. Marshall, her eyes filled with determination. "If Mr. Sterling wishes to further test my cooking abilities, I'm willing to take on the challenge," she said, her voice steady and resolute. Victor leaned forward, a glint of mischief lighting up his eyes. "Good. This time I want a dessert. Not something simple like pudding or ice cream. I want to see her creativity." Mia nodded, feeling her heart race. The tension in her chest was mixed with an undeniable hunger to prove herself once again. "I'll prepare something right away," she said, and headed back to the kitchen. As Mia entered the kitchen, she was met with curious glances from her colleagues. Some looked doubtful, while others seemed quietly supportive. Head chef Daniel Morale remained as calm as ever. "A dessert, is it?" he asked, his deep voice steady. "Yes, Chef," Mia replied, trying to mask her nerves. "I'm thinking of making a chocolate mousse with an orange sauce glaze. I've practiced it before at home." Daniel studied her for a moment before giving a curt nod. "All right, do it. But remember, desserts aren't just about taste, they're about presentation. Every detail will be scrutinized." Encouraged by his approval, Mia set to work with an unwavering focus. She carefully measured the ingredients, ensuring each one was of the highest quality. The kitchen was filled with the rich aroma of melted chocolate as Mia whisked the mixture into a creamy mousse. She prepared the orange sauce with equal precision, balancing its tartness with just the right amount of sweetness. Mia poured the mousse into elegant serving glasses, allowing it to chill as she began plating. She added delicate candied orange peels and a thin drizzle of the vibrant orange glaze to each dish. Every movement was deliberate, her attention to detail a reflection of her deep passion for the craft. Finally, with a mix of anticipation and determination, Mia carried the desserts to Victor's table. As she approached, the restaurant seemed to fall silent once more. The diner's curiosity had been piqued, and all eyes were on her. Victor eyed the dessert with a mix of intrigue and skepticism. "Well," he said, picking up a spoon and taking a bite. The table and the surrounding diners held their breath, waiting for his reaction. Victor tasted the mousse slowly, his expression inscrutable at first. Then he placed the spoon down, a rare look of genuine surprise crossing his face. "This," he said after a moment, "is exceptional." The room erupted into applause even louder than before. Mia stood tall, a sense of pride and relief washing over her. This wasn't just about winning over Victor, it was a moment of validation for all her hard work and determination. As she returned to the kitchen, Daniel approached her with a rare smile. "Excellent work, Mia. You've shown not just skill but also heart. Keep that up, and there's no telling how far you'll go." Mia smiled back, her heart swelling with gratitude and renewed resolve. She knew that while the journey ahead would still be challenging, she was ready to embrace every opportunity and obstacle with the same unwavering determination. This wasn't just the end of an evening, it was the beginning of something far greater. Daniel looked at her for a moment, then nodded. "All right, go ahead, but remember, dessert isn't just about taste, it has to be visually stunning. People will notice every detail." Mia began her work with intense focus. She prepared dark chocolate, fresh cream, and oranges for the sauce. She recalled the many times she had experimented with this dessert in her small kitchen, dreaming of one day serving her creations in an elegant restaurant like Golden Fork. Once the mousse was complete and placed in the fridge to set, Mia moved on to preparing the orange sauce. The sweet aroma of oranges combined with the slight bitterness of the zest filled the kitchen, creating a harmony that even her skeptical colleagues couldn't ignore as they silently watched her work. Finally, Mia plated the dessert with meticulous care. She garnished it with a few thin slices of fresh orange, a sprig of mint, and a glossy drizzle of orange sauce elegantly spread over the top. The chocolate mousse was carried to Victor's table under the watchful eyes of the entire restaurant. The other diners, increasingly intrigued by the unfolding events, turned their attention to the scene, filling the atmosphere with palpable anticipation. Victor lifted the silver spoon, cutting a small piece of the mousse before placing it in his mouth. He chewed slowly, his expression unreadable, leaving Mia feeling as though time had stopped entirely. After what felt like an eternity, Victor set the spoon down, leaned back in his chair, and smiled. "Delicious," he said, his tone still carrying a hint of challenge. "Very delicious. But I have a feeling you can do even better. I'll be back here next week. I hope you'll be ready." The table erupted in laughter as Victor stood up to leave. But this time, Mia didn't feel mocked. She watched his retreating figure, fully aware that his challenge was more than just a game, it was an opportunity for her to grow. Back in the kitchen, Chef Daniel approached Mia, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You did well, Mia. Don't let his words shake you. This was a big step forward for you." Mia nodded, feeling a newfound sense of confidence rise within her. She knew that whatever Victor's intentions, these challenges were pushing her closer to her dream of becoming a true chef. She had overcome the second trial, and she was ready to face whatever came next. The new week at Golden Fork began with its usual hustle and bustle, but for Mia, it carried a completely different weight. Victor Sterling's promise to return wasn't just a challenge, it had become the focal point of her thoughts. A mix of anticipation and pressure made each passing day feel longer. In the kitchen, Mia's colleagues started paying more attention to her. Some admired her courage for standing up to Victor, while others remained skeptical. "Do you really think you can keep impressing him?" a fellow chef asked with a tone laced with sarcasm. "Victor Sterling isn't an easy man to please, and he's not here to hand out compliments." Mia responded with a slight smile. "I'm not trying to please him. I'm trying to do my best." Chef Daniel Moreau, known for his signature calm demeanor, couldn't completely mask his concern seeing Mia under such pressure. One morning, he called her over to the main counter, where he was preparing a classic roast beef dish. "Mia," he began, his sharp yet kind eyes meeting hers. "I know what you're feeling. These challenges can help you grow, but don't let them take away the joy of cooking." Mia nodded, feeling a bit lighter. "Thank you, chef. I just want to prove that I can do it." Daniel smiled. "You don't need to prove anything to anyone but yourself. And remember, creativity comes from joy, not pressure." Mia knew that to impress Victor this time, she needed to do something groundbreaking. Traditional dishes with standard techniques wouldn't suffice. Each night after work, she dedicated herself to researching recipes and experimenting with new ideas in her small apartment kitchen. She ultimately decided on a creative main-course duck confit with black grape sauce, crispy potato cake, and fennel salad. The dish was a blend of classic and modern flavors and would showcase her skill in handling complex ingredients. In the days leading up to Victor's return, Mia spent countless hours perfecting the preparation of the duck. She wanted the skin to be perfectly crisp while ensuring the meat stayed tender and juicy. The black grape sauce needed a flawless balance of sweetness and acidity to enhance the duck's flavor without overpowering it. On Saturday evening, Victor arrived with his group, dressed in an impeccably tailored black suit. The atmosphere in the restaurant grew noticeably tenser as he walked in, his presence commanding attention. The waitstaff exchanged glances, but Mia remained laser-focused on her task. When the duck confit was brought to Victor's table, all eyes in the restaurant turned toward him. The dish was plated elegantly. The golden, crisp duck skin glistened under the restaurant lights, resting on a bed of velvety black grape sauce. Beside it lay the golden brown potato cake and the vibrant green fennel salad, creating a striking contrast. Victor picked up his knife and fork, cutting a piece of duck and dipping it lightly into the sauce before taking a bite. He chewed slowly, his sharp gaze fixed on Mia, who stood a few steps away, watching for any sign of his reaction. The entire table fell silent, waiting for Victor's verdict. Instead of speaking immediately, he set his utensils down, took a sip of red wine, and leaned back in his chair. "This is a very interesting dish," he said, his tone measured. I can't say it's perfect, but there's something about the way you handled the ingredients. It makes me want to keep eating." The ambiguous compliment left Mia feeling both relieved and uncertain. She knew her dish wasn't flawless, but receiving any positive feedback from Victor was a small victory. One of Victor's companions interjected with a laugh. "Looks like you've impressed him." Usually he wouldn't say anything nice at all. Victor didn't respond, his gaze still fixed on Mia, sharp and probing. "I'll be back again. But next time I want to see something truly groundbreaking." As Victor left, Mia's colleagues surrounded her with congratulations. Even those who had doubted her couldn't deny that she had done an exceptional job. Chef Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're improving quickly, Mia. But don't let his words distract you. A breakthrough doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest things done exceptionally well are the most remarkable." Mia nodded, feeling a renewed sense of determination. She knew there would be more challenges ahead, but she no longer feared them. Victor Sterling had become a driving force for her growth, and Mia was resolute nothing, and no one would stand in the way of her journey toward her dream. A week after that Saturday evening, the kitchen at Golden Fork seemed more vibrant than usual. Word of Mia's culinary performance had spread throughout the restaurant, even reaching some of the regular patrons. However, for Mia, Victor Sterling's comments lingered as an unresolved challenge. He had asked for a breakthrough, and this time, she was determined to deliver. In the days that followed, Mia poured all her energy into creating a completely new dish. She remembered Chef Daniel's advice: a breakthrough doesn't have to be complicated. Simplicity done perfectly can be the ultimate achievement. This inspired her to focus on basic, often underrated ingredients, things not typically featured at upscale restaurants like Golden Fork. Then, an idea struck her: a dish that combined street food charm with high-end culinary techniques. Mia decided on an innovative creation: Japanese grilled eel tacos with miso orange sauce and pickled radish salad. It was bold, even risky, as tacos were far from standard fare in fine dining. But Mia believed the contrast between simplicity and sophistication would make this dish stand out. Throughout the week, Mia stayed up late perfecting the recipe. The eel was prepared in a traditional Japanese style, marinated in soy sauce, sugar, and mirin, then grilled until the skin was crisp and the flesh tender. The miso orange sauce struck a balance between savory and sweet, with a tangy note of citrus to offset the eel's richness. The pickled radish salad provided a refreshing crunch, with a hint of apple cider vinegar and toasted sesame seeds for depth. Each taco was presented on a small tortilla, garnished with fresh shiso leaves and a thin slice of orange. Mia tested the dish repeatedly, tweaking every detail to ensure it achieved perfection. Saturday evening arrived, and Victor Sterling entered the restaurant with his usual entourage. Mia felt her heart race as he walked in, but she quickly steadied herself. This was her moment. This time, Victor didn't say much when ordering. He simply looked at manager Edward Marshall and said pointedly, "Bring me something special from that girl." When the Japanese grilled eel tacos were served, Victor leaned forward, examining the dish closely. The presentation was minimalistic: 3 small tacos arranged on a bamboo leaf, accompanied by a small bowl of miso orange sauce. Victor picked up a taco, inhaled its aroma, and took a bite. He chewed deliberately, his gaze fixed on Mia, who stood nearby, anxiously observing his reaction. The entire table fell silent, waiting for Victor's response. Instead of speaking immediately, he leaned back in his chair, set the taco down, and looked directly at Mia. "This is an interesting risk," he began, his tone inscrutable. "I didn't expect to see tacos at a place like Golden Fork." But he paused, heightening the suspense. Absolutely excellent. You've transformed a street food staple into something refined and memorable. I particularly enjoyed the miso orange sauce. It doesn't just complement the dish, it elevates it. Congratulations, Mia." The table erupted into applause, genuine and surprised. Mia bowed her head in gratitude, feeling both relieved and proud. Back in the kitchen, her colleagues greeted her with cheers and applause. Even those who had doubted her couldn't deny that Mia had accomplished something remarkable. Chef Daniel offered a rare smile. "Well done, Mia. You turned pressure into opportunity, and you did it brilliantly. But remember, creativity doesn't stop here. Keep pushing yourself." At the end of the evening, Victor left the restaurant, but not before leaving a message with manager Marshall. "Tell that girl I'm impressed. I look forward to seeing her next creation." When Mia heard the message, she smiled. This time there was no pressure, only excitement. Victor was no longer just a demanding customer, he had become a source of motivation, pushing her to continuously break her own boundaries. Mia knew the journey toward her dream was far from over. But with each challenge, she was moving closer to her ultimate goal, to become a true chef, capable of turning any dish into an unforgettable experience. A week after Victor Sterling left the restaurant, Mia's life at Golden Fork grew busier than ever. The buzz surrounding her Japanese grilled eel tacos wasn't confined to her colleagues, it had reached the ears of regular patrons as well. Some diners, after hearing the story of Victor's experience, intentionally visited the restaurant to try her unique creation. "Mia, you're about to become the star of Golden Fork," Chef Daniel joked as a customer inquired about her dish. But Mia only offered a modest smile, knowing her journey was still far from over. On a quiet Tuesday morning, as Mia prepped ingredients for the lunch menu, manager Edward Marshall walked into the kitchen with an unusual expression. He looked around before heading directly to Mia. "Mia, there's a special guest who wants to meet you," he said, his tone both mysterious and serious. "They're waiting at table 3. Mia furrowed her brow in curiosity. Quickly washing her hands, she stepped out of the kitchen and made her way to the dining area. Seated at table 3 was a poised woman in her early 40s with a confident demeanor and sharp eyes. She wore an elegant dark dress paired with tasteful accessories, exuding sophistication. "Hello, I'm Margaret Hale," the woman introduced herself as Mia approached. "I've heard you're the one who created the grilled eel tacos that Victor Sterling can't stop talking about." Mia was taken aback. She had heard of Margaret Hale before. A prominent figure in the culinary world, often referred to as a chef scout, Margaret was renowned for discovering young culinary talents and helping them advance their careers in prestigious restaurants or high-profile culinary programs. "That's correct, Mia replied, striving to remain composed. "I'm the one who created that dish. I'm glad to hear you've heard about it." Margaret offered a faint smile, her gaze assessing Mia closely. "I haven't just heard about the dish, I've heard about you. I've been in this industry long enough to recognize real talent when I see it, and I believe you're one of them." Mia was surprised but also encouraged. "Thank you, ma'am. But I still have so much to learn." Margaret leaned forward slightly, her tone becoming more serious. "That's exactly why I'm here. I want to invite you to participate in a special culinary event I'm organizing. It's taking place next month at the Rosewood Hotel, where emerging chefs will have the chance to showcase their dishes before a panel of industry icons. I believe this could be a fantastic opportunity for you to prove your talent." Margaret's invitation left Mia both excited and apprehensive. Presenting her dish to a panel of renowned judges was a dream opportunity for many, but it also came with immense pressure. She had never ventured beyond the confines of the Golden Fork kitchen, a space where she felt most at ease. "I'm not sure if I'm ready," Mia admitted. "I'm just a kitchen assistant and have never participated in any event like this before." Margaret raised an eyebrow, her expression tinged with disappointment but not surprise. "You wouldn't be the first to hesitate before a big opportunity. But let me be clear, chances like this don't come twice. If you're willing to take the risk, I believe you won't just impress, you'll carve a name for yourself in the culinary world." Mia felt a spark of determination. Margaret's words were both a challenge and an encouragement. "I'll think about your offer," she said earnestly. "Thank you for believing in me." Margaret rose from her seat, offering a confident smile. "I hope to hear a positive answer from you. Here's my card. Call me when you've made your decision." That evening, Mia sat in her small apartment, staring at Margaret's business card. Memories of her journey at Golden Fork flooded her mind, from quietly working in the background, following instructions, to creating her own dish and earning recognition from someone like Victor Sterling. But was she truly ready to step onto a larger stage? She called Chef Daniel, someone she regarded as a mentor. He listened as she recounted Margaret's invitation, pausing for a moment before responding. "Mia, I understand your hesitation," he said in his steady, reassuring voice. "But remember, nothing worthwhile ever comes easy. If you don't try, you'll never know what you're capable of." The next morning, Mia picked up her phone and dialed Margaret's number. When the call connected, she took a deep breath. "Mrs. Hale, this is Mia. I've thought it over, and I'd like to participate in your event." Margaret's smile was almost audible over the phone. "Good decision, Mia. I knew you'd make the right choice. Prepare to bring your best. I'll send you the event details and provide any support you need." As she ended the call, Mia felt a mix of nerves and excitement. This would be the biggest challenge of her career so far, but she was ready to put her heart into it. Opportunities like this didn't come twice, and she was determined not to let it slip away. A week before the event, Mia finally achieved the perfection she had been striving for. Her cornmeal rolls with roasted duck and rosemary orange glaze were complete. The soft, delicate rolls seamlessly complemented the fragrant roasted duck, all elevated by the subtle, balanced notes of the rosemary orange glaze. After tasting the final dish, Daniel couldn't hide his satisfaction. "Mia, this is the dish you should take to Rosewood. It's not just delicious, it tells your story, a story of a young chef filled with ambition." Despite perfecting her dish, Mia couldn't shake off her nerves. The night before the event, she called her mother. "Mom, I'm so scared," she admitted. "What if my dish isn't good enough?" Her mother, in her familiar, gentle voice, reassured her. "Mia, you've worked so hard and poured your heart into this dish. That's more important than any prize. Be confident and do what you do best." The next morning, Mia arrived at the Rosewood Hotel, her heart pounding. She was assigned a small kitchen station alongside the other contestants, each preparing their signature dish. The atmosphere was tense yet exhilarating, filled with the hum of focused energy. As Mia glanced around at the other young chefs, each exuding confidence in their creations, she felt a wave of pressure. But then she remembered her mother's and Daniel's words, "Just be yourself." When it was Mia's turn to present her dish to the judges, she took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and stepped forward with a calm smile. This was her moment, the chance to tell her story through flavors and creativity. Under the bright lights of the stage, Mia placed her cornmeal rolls with roasted duck and rosemary orange glaze on the judges' table. Margaret Hale sat in the center, offering an encouraging smile. The panel also included renowned chefs, esteemed food critics, and owners of prestigious restaurants. "Tell us about your dish," one of the judges requested. Mia inhaled deeply, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "This dish is a fusion of modern techniques and the traditional flavors of my family. It's not just food, it's a reflection of my journey, from my mother's humble kitchen to this stage today." The judges nodded as they began to taste her dish. Mia watched intently, analyzing every subtle expression on their faces. It felt as though time slowed to a crawl. Would her dish resonate with them the way it resonated with her? Standing tall, Mia waited for their feedback, fully aware that this moment could forever change the trajectory of her life. The anticipation was electrifying, but she knew she had put her heart and soul into that plate, and that was all she could offer. The room fell silent as the judges began tasting Mia's dish. They sampled the soft cornmeal rolls, bit into the crispy skinned roasted duck, and let the rosemary orange glaze linger on their palates. Each judge maintained an inscrutable expression, leaving Mia unsure of what they thought. Mia stood upright, her hands lightly clasped in front of her, striving to keep her composure. This was the most critical moment. Margaret Hale, the lead judge, was the first to set down her fork. She looked at Mia, her eyes a mix of curiosity and subtle satisfaction. "This dish is very impressive," she said. "The cornmeal roll is tender and retains its traditional flavor, while the duck is perfectly cooked. But what I love most is the rosemary orange glaze. It's delicate, balanced, and truly elevates the dish." Mia felt a small wave of relief, but she knew there were still more opinions to come. Another judge, renowned international chef Marco LeBlanc, nodded thoughtfully after tasting the dish. "Mia, your concept is excellent. I admire the way you've combined traditional and modern elements." However, he paused, scrutinizing the plate before him. The presentation could be refined slightly to make the dish truly shine. Mia took note of the feedback, determined not to let her nerves take over. There was still one judge left, one more chance. The third judge, acclaimed food critic Evelyn Reed, took her time finishing the final bite of the dish. She placed her fork down and met Mia's gaze with a piercing look. "This dish tells a deeply personal story, and I can feel your heart in every component." She paused, creating a moment of tension. "However, I think the dish could benefit from an added element of surprise, something to make it not just delicious but unforgettable." That said, this is an outstanding effort. Mia bowed her head in gratitude, feeling the knot in her chest begin to loosen. She had done everything she could. As all the contestants completed their presentations and the judges deliberated privately, Mia returned to the backstage area with the others. She could feel the tension in the air as everyone waited anxiously for the results. Daniel sent her a text of encouragement. "You did an amazing job. Believe in yourself. Inside, Mia was a swirl of emotions, a mix of hope and doubt. Was I good enough? Finally, the judges returned to the main stage. Margaret took the microphone, her authoritative voice commanding the room. After careful consideration, we've chosen a winner for today's event. This dish not only demonstrated remarkable skill but also told an emotional story. Mia held her breath. The winner is Mia Walker with her cornmeal rolls with roasted duck and rosemary orange glaze. The room erupted into applause. Mia stood frozen for a moment, unable to believe what she had just heard. When Margaret smiled and motioned for her to come to the stage, Mia stepped forward amid the cheers and claps from those around her. Mia, your dish wasn't just flavorful, it carried your heart and soul, Margaret said as she presented the award. We look forward to seeing how far you will go in the culinary world. As the crowd began to disperse after the ceremony, Mia lingered by the piano in the corner of the room, a quiet, familiar refuge during her struggles at the restaurant. She placed her hand on the keys, not to play, but to feel the resilience she had rediscovered. She thought of all the hardships she had faced, the late nights experimenting with recipes, the moments of self-doubt, and even the mocking gazes of the MAGA group from weeks ago. They tried to push me down, Mia whispered, but I rose above it. She smiled, knowing this was just the beginning. The road ahead was long, but now she was ready to conquer it. After her emotional victory at the cooking competition, Mia felt as though a new chapter of her life had begun. She was no longer just a quiet sous-chef working behind the scenes at Golden Hearth now. She was recognized as a chef full of potential. But Mia understood that this victory was only the beginning. It wasn't a destination, it was the start of a long journey. A few days later, as Mia was preparing dishes in the Golden Hearth kitchen, a familiar but unexpected guest walked in, none other than Lucas Harrington. He approached with his usual confidence, but this time his eyes carried a rare hint of respect rather than disdain. Ms. Walker, Lucas began, his voice deep and steady. I came to congratulate you. I realize that my words in the past may have hurt you, and I deeply regret that. Mia looked up, surprised by his apology. Actually, he continued, I'm not just here to apologize. I want to propose a partnership. I'm planning to launch a chain of luxury restaurants focused on innovative cuisine, and I want you to be the head chef for this project. Mia froze, unsure of how to respond. It was an incredible opportunity, but the idea of collaborating with Lucas, the man who once dismissed her, made her hesitate. I'll need some time to think about it, she said, keeping her tone calm and professional. Lucas nodded. I understand. I hope you'll consider it. You have a talent this industry truly needs. That evening, Mia sat alone in her small kitchen, reflecting on Lucas's proposal. Was this the chance to prove herself further? But she couldn't shake the memory of feeling belittled by him in the past. Mia decided to call Daniel, her trusted mentor and friend. Daniel, what do you think I should do? Should I accept his offer? Daniel paused thoughtfully before responding. Mia, I think this is your decision to make. If you believe he's genuinely changed and the opportunity is worth it, then take it. But you have to trust yourself first and foremost. Daniel's words gave Mia clarity. She couldn't let the negativity of the past dictate her future. This wasn't about Lucas, it was about pursuing her dreams. The next day, Mia called Lucas and agreed to join his project, with one clear condition: she would have full control over the menu and culinary style of the restaurant. Lucas agreed immediately, promising to support her decisions completely. In the months that followed, Mia worked tirelessly to develop a unique menu for the new restaurant. She blended traditional dishes with modern creativity, delivering flavors that were both familiar and refreshingly new. Over time, she and Lucas learned how to collaborate effectively. Lucas proved that he genuinely respected Mia's talent and determination, and their partnership grew increasingly productive. Mia's journey was far from over, but she knew she was finally steering her own course. The new restaurant, named Horizon, was inaugurated on a special evening, graced by the presence of renowned food critics and culinary enthusiasts. As Mia stepped out of the kitchen to greet the guests, she was met with a thunderous round of applause. In the weeks following its opening, Horizon quickly became a sought-after destination. Critics lavished praise, calling Mia a rising star in the culinary world. Guests flocked to the restaurant not just for the exquisite food but also for the inspiring story behind it. Mia had not only transformed her own life but had also become a symbol for young dreamers who dared to pursue their passions despite the odds. Golden Hearth, the restaurant where her journey began, also gained attention, and her relationships with her former colleagues flourished like never before. Lucas, once her challenger, had now become a trusted companion on her journey to success. No longer the arrogant businessman, he had learned to listen and respect the talents of others. One late evening, after the restaurant had closed, Mia sat alone in the kitchen. She looked at the dishes prepped for the next day and felt her heart swell with gratitude. She knew her journey was far from over, but she also knew she had conquered some of life's greatest challenges. On the kitchen counter sat a small plaque inscribed with the words she had always held close to her heart: "Nothing is impossible if you believe in yourself." The story of Mia Walker draws to a close, yet opens a new chapter, a journey, not just of culinary art, but of faith, resilience, and the courage to overcome life's limitations. The feast may have ended, but Mia Alvarez's journey has only just begun, a journey of passion, courage, and the relentless drive to break free of the barriers life imposes. Not everyone dares to chase their dreams, and fewer still possess the bravery to face ridicule and doubt. But when we stand firm and remain true to our chosen path, miracles can indeed happen. Mia proved that a person's worth and talent are not determined by where they start, but by how they move forward with persistence and a love for what they believe in. Her story is a testament that no matter how difficult the road may be, dreams can come true if we refuse to give up. If Mia's story inspired you, hit like if you believe it's a story worth sharing. Click share and don't forget to subscribe to join us as we explore more incredible journeys. Every action you take is a motivation for us to continue bringing meaningful and human stories to life. What did you think of Mia's story? If you found it thought-provoking and worth sharing, press 1. If not, press 0. Your feedback is the inspiration that drives us to tell more genuine and heartwarming tales.